So this morning, I'm going to continue our week-long talking about more settled, collected states of mind, also in the language that was written about early Buddhism in the language of Pali Samadhi. And the subtitle of my talk is Changing Thinking. So we've been talking about how when we become more settled and collected in meditation, our experience changes. And it's not really that, the features of our internal landscape change. We may experience it may seem like some of the usual thoughts, some of the usual emotions, sensations, memories, but there is something in there that changes. We often say that it's how we relate to the similar thoughts, emotions, sensations, and memories that change. And that's often the case. Um, and if we wanted to put it into more poetic language or metaphoric language, we could say that it's like the weather or the light or the texture of our internal landscape shifts. And maybe it feels a little more spacious, maybe a little softer, maybe a little more ease. But for the rest of this talk, I'm going to focus in on how our relationship to thinking in meditation changes a lot, because that really is a strong characteristic of reflective meditation, is how we really relate to thinking differently. We don't push it away and we don't discipline thinking into silence. Instead, in a way, it's just treated as part of the meditative field itself. And because of that, the quality, the tone, and even the function of thought naturally shifts in ways that really are quite different from more mainstream approaches or more concentrative styles. Maybe there's even a cause and effect relationship. I always hesitate to say cause and effect that X causes Y, but just for the sake of thinking or considering this, might thoughts become more honest, softer, less sticky, less hidden because we're not fighting them? I think that's true for me. So another angle on this is simply relaxing. It's relaxing to sort of let down the guard on thinking, to no longer try to force attention away from thinking or suppress thinking. It's just easier. It's more relaxing. There's more ease. And when we feel more relaxed, things just kind of naturally slow down, including thoughts, which is again counterintuitive, that by allowing thoughts, they will slow down. Um, and that kind of relaxation, I really think we need it. I think it's a refuge in these supercharged, overstimulating times we're through and in. But if we're going to follow that cause and effect relationship, here's another possible angle on it. As we slowly become less aversive to thinking meditation, as we stop trying to control thoughts, maybe reactive thoughts such as self-criticism, catastrophizing, and you name it, all those thinkings that they call rotten thinking. That's a term in psychology. Um, stinking thinking, that's it, stinking thinking, become less urgent and maybe just simply less believable. They might be there, but you just don't believe them. Like it just feels like old tapes running, nothing to be taken as a guide. And when we feel friendlier about thinking and meditation, the thoughts themselves, I believe, become friendlier. Now, in the meditative world, some people want to avoid thinking because they say it's too personal and they want to get beyond the personal to something more universal. Um, but I think that the sense of what's too personal also shifts as we downshift. That's a word we often use, downshift, as an experiential description of when we are going into more relaxed states of body mind. We use that as one word because that's how it is in the Pali language. Um, but, you know, as you allow in the usual thoughts about your day, your plans, your struggle, your past, you name it, there's so much more. I couldn't name it all. But you start to pick up patterns. And these patterns are really informative. As we start to become aware of them, they start to run us a little less. And then we listen to others share their experience. And as you hear others talk about what went on for them and their experience, this also can lead to a shift in your experience. Um, because you start, one way this happens is you start to understand that so many of our thoughts, your thoughts, my thoughts, are somewhat shared. It's not like we're isolated in our own little uh, brains. Um, and we start to see that they're a response to the causes and conditions in our lives. And some of those are shared, some are more unique to what we are personally going through, but all of them are very human. And so we can accept our humanness, perhaps no longer longing so much for something that rises above it. And all of this can lead to feeling less isolated. So maybe over time, thought becomes like a partner to awareness. I kind of like that. Not a distraction from awareness, but a partner to it. Because it's really thoughts that inform our understanding. And we can learn upon our thoughts and reflect on them. They teach us. And they become, and I like to think of them as friends that accompany us through life and hopefully support us rather than undermine us or demean us. And lastly, and we often speak about this, I like to speak about it because it's my favorite part, really. It's when our thoughts become more creative and intuitive. You know, there's a thing about wandering mind in meditation, and people are afraid of letting their mind wander because it can go in unhelpful ways. And that's true, it can. But also, I think over time, our mind, our thoughts start to wander about, not in helpful ways, associating things, integrating our experiences. And sometimes new and surprising thoughts seem to just pop into awareness. When this happens to me, it seems like I didn't even know that I thought this before. Though sometimes I have and I've just forgotten, but that's fine too. But it pops up as a kind of insight, um, and it can provide welcome clarity in this complicated life we live. And hopefully it can guide us, me, you, to more ethical and skillful behaviors. So I'm going to end the talk there.